Okay, go ahead. No backup lights. Yeah, she sounds a little bit cold, eh? Have you done anything mechanically on this car since you've owned it?
Oh, everything. All of it. Motor was, I took out the motor, everything to do with the motor, suspension, brakes. The only thing I didn't have to touch was this, the gearbox.
Yeah, she's got right now 119,000 kilometers. And she's got the bias ply bike crust tires. It's a neat little car. So 119,000 kilometers, it's like...
Miles.
Oh, you mean the Brits were still in miles at that
They
time?
still are.
But why the hell did we go into kilometers then?
I don't know.
Oh man, I tell you, the metric system is a tool of the devil.
So it's a pretty bare bones ride.
It doesn't matter, it's an antique. I mean, the car's only 51 years old, you know. Look, it even has a sticker in here I never noticed. So Ed, tell us, when you went on your trip to Britain, you said it was 20 years ago?
Yeah, I went there.
What was it that made you buy his car and bring it back, which is not often done, you know?
Yeah, I used to see these cars on the street in London, and then and so I thought they were really cute looking. They were small. They had the styling of a 50s American car, very curvy.
Yeah.
And they were simple, and they weren't that expensive. So I started looking around for one, and I found this one advertised on the street. And the guy just said, you know, he had a little homemade for sale sign on the window. And so I called him. I said I'd be interested in test driving your car. And so he came over, and you have to move it to the side there.
Oh, that, okay.
And so the guy was a music teacher. So anyway, I had a guy at work who knew English cars take a look at it, and he said, it's got an oil leak, but other than that, it's okay. So I offered the guy what he wanted, and a little bit less. We negotiated, and I bought it. And that was it was in August of 2001. And you can see the little turn signal the way it flashes like that.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's neat. Oh, I like that. That's clever. And what do you think's been the biggest hurdle with this car? Owning it.
Well, when I first bought it, there was a bad oil leak, and there's no crankshaft seal, so the oil, when you get it onto the highway, the engine would run quickly, and then it would pour all the oil out of the bottom of the bell housing. So I would have to add about, you know, a quart of oil after 20 miles. So I used to drive around like that, burning up all this oil. And so when I rebuilt the engine several years later, I had to, I put in a crankshaft seal, which wasn't a small task. So yeah, I had to rebuild the engine because it wasn't running properly and it had a bad leak.
Well, especially with the amount of mileage it has. I mean, what was the mileage when you bought it?
It had 108,000 miles on it. I mean, it says 8,000, but you have to have the 100, I assume. And now we got 19,000, so 119.
Something typical about these old British cars, their seats. There's something odd about the way they did their seats. Because, you know, I have a friend who has a 65 Austin Healey 3000.
Oh, yeah?
Beautiful, sexy little car, you know?
Yeah.
But the seats are like that. You feel very...
Not supported?
No, not only that, but you know, you're not sitting at all laid back. You're sitting like very...
upright.
Upright.
Yeah,
That's the term I was looking for, yeah.
Well, the idea was to give more room in the back, too, you know? They wanted
I was thinking, even when we started moving, I was like, maybe I should have sat in the back, you know? Or I could actually. We could stop at worst case scenario and I'll go sit in the back, you know, to get a different perspective. But it still, it has a nice ride. It's comfortable. It's pretty relaxing. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. You know, how could you be depressed with a green colored interior like this? You know, and all this.
No, exactly.
You know, when a car that's designed is like 20 years older than it is.
And the designer Alec Isignonis, he did not believe in having radios in cars because he said they would distract you from the driving experience.
It wouldn't add to it, God forbid.
No, and so the idea was when you're driving, you should be listening to the engine, you should be listening, concentrating on what you're doing, looking at the traffic, not sitting there listening to music. So I kind of agree with him.
You gonna let me drive one day?
Maybe.
You know, I just realized you remind me of two different people. My cousin Grant, you look like him, except he's a redhead.
Yeah.
And he's 30.
Yeah.
Or 31, whatever. And the other guy, and you also look like this guy I'm subscribed to. He's from Minnesota. He's one of these guys who buys these rusty Hulks and get them running and all that. And the guy's hilarious. His channel name is Vice Grip Garage.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Vice Grip Garage, yeah. You can tell he's a good guy, you know, a family guy. Yeah, I don't think he would ever buy something like this, though, that's for sure. Now, are you able to do like the American cars, the 60s and earlier, where the engine's running, you can still take the key out?
Yeah.
I know, why did they do that, eh? So look at this, you know, you're taking me in an area I've never been around here before.
This is
Montreal West. Yeah. Yeah, my friend lives near here, you know, he's probably not even home right now. Montreal West. Oh, look at that. That looks like it could have been, oh wow, look at those doors. It looks like it could have been an old fire station. But fire station 77 is actually this way. Where are you going? You're going to the Timmy's?
This is Westminster.
Yeah. No, I know, I've been around here. I was just wondering where you were going. Like maybe you're going to the Timmy's on Notre Dame in St. Pierre or something. You know you know that area where it's like rock and roll all the time almost? Look at the color on that Beamer, eh? That's what I'm talking about. I'd like to see stuff more like that.
Different, yeah.
Yeah, very.
Instead of black, white looking around.
Always. Look, it's all the same. It's all the same. As a matter of fact, the more upscale an area, the more the cars are colorless. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
You know. Geez, it was a nice day, and now it's like quasi nice. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So I can finish my story of the
yes,
of the car.
by all means.
So I used it in England as my only car for about a year and a half.
But wait a minute, how long did you live there for?
I lived there 2.5 years.
Well, yeah, why?
Well, I went to study there, and then I also worked there afterwards.
You went to Oxford?
No. But I went.
You should have seen the reaction on that chick. It was classic. She was like, shut her mouth.
Yeah,
She's like, what?
Well, you see a lot of that.
Yeah. Sorry, anyway, go ahead.
So I lived there, and then I got a job offer in Germany. So I went to
Deutschland.
Yeah, and I took this car on a ferry from the east coast of England to Hamburg.
Wow.
And put all my stuff in the back, my bicycle, all my suitcases and everything, books and everything, loaded the car down, and then drove to the boat, got the cruise across, and then drove from Hamburg to Bremen, where I had the job. And then I was only allowed, I think, I don't know, a month or something like that, or 2 months on the registration that I had, the English registration. The next thing I had to do was get German registration, which meant you had to pass the German safety test.
Oh, that's harsh, eh?
And that's super tough
strict.
because they don't want old cars on their roads.
And apparently, I even heard years ago they don't even tolerate custom cars, no modifications.
Nothing. So anyway, it was really tough. I went there, they failed me, and I had to fix a whole bunch of things. And then I fixed it. I got the German license plates for it, and then I would drive around the north part of Germany in the car, which was fun. I'd go from different town to town and stuff. Drove it on the autobahn and on the slow lane.
Yeah, well, how slow is the slow lane?
Well, it was with the trucks, put it that way.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, I decided to move back to Montreal, and I put it in a container, had it strapped down in its own container, 20-foot container, and had it shipped to Montreal. So it arrived in Montreal, and I had it delivered to a friend's workplace where he had a loading ramp, and drove it out of the factory. And then I brought it to my grandmother and aunt's house, where they had a garage there, and I took it all apart, and I spent the whole winter restoring the engine. So I took the engine out, restored it all, and that was in 2003, 2004, and then since then I've just been using it.
I like this center-mounted odometer.
Well, it was done symmetrically because this car was sold in the U.S. and Canada with left-hand drive.
Right,
so they had to have the car symmetrical. Of course. They just switched the glove box with the.
And you know what car it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Mini, even the modern ones.
Well, it was the same designer.
Yeah.
And the same motor. The first Mini had this motor in it.
And you have no power options, no power steering, no power brakes,
no.
Manual transmission, no radio.
No. That's the way. I think all cars should be like that. So you're concentrating on what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only person who's actually ever mentioned something like that.
You're not detached from the driving experience.
Yeah. And by the way, my friend likes music. It's not like he doesn't like music.
No, I like music too, but I mean, I like music to listen to, but when I'm driving. I want to enjoy the driving experience.
You know, I never told you, I used to live over here, right?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I used to live right here on eltonmcfall, and there was nothing. There was fuck all here back in the day.
Yeah.
Nothing.
This was
it was the old
area.
Yeah, it was the old consumer glass building, I think, was here. And
so it has 4 speeds. We're in top gear now. So we're
watch this overpass we're coming through, guys. It's a one-way only. It's so old. It's a CP. Look at that right here.
I also want to get the light.
Yeah. They have to have a traffic light because it's only a one-way. That's how old it is. It was probably built at a time. When it was horse and buggies.
Well, you see, this is great. Norman Road.
Yeah.
No cars around.
Good call. Yeah, especially Sunday afternoon. There's nobody around here practically. Yeah, this is an area I'd like to come back more. If it was easier to get to, because come here and do train spotting, but you can only come here during the week at rush hour with buses. So
that's it.
One time I came through here actually with my friend, and I saw a beautiful Prelude, like late 80s, it was mint.
Oh yeah.
It was parked over here on the left somewhere. Yeah, look at it. See, I just saw a 500 SL there. You see some old stuff around here.
Yeah.
You know? Just saw an old camper there.
This is a nice old Ram, the Dodge Ram pickup truck.
I think
the guy lives in my
there
area.
it is. Yes,
He
I've
lives in
seen
my
it.
area.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
beautiful.
that. Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so
like
badass. You buy that, you don't do anything to it. It's just so
exactly.
cool the way it is. And you know, obviously the street ends at the entrance for what the hell? What the hell? I just saw some scrap parked there. STM scrap. Yeah, Arctics. That was strange. What are they doing there? Probably because the STM has no room for their buses anymore. I heard about that for years.
Yeah.
You know, what I was trying to say is that this street ends to the entrance of the CN yard.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that, eh? I once wound up there by mistake.
So I got excellent oil pressure. I added these gauges of oil pressure, So almost 100 psi.
Oh, you added those? I thought they were original. Wow.
Well, they're Smith gauges. Like this is a Smith gauge. Yeah. They're off of a Mini.
And what's these switches here? So one of them's wall lights, one of them's wipers.
That's the wipers. Yeah. That's the choke, and that's the manual.
What? No lighter?
Squirt.
No ashtrays even?
Well, there's ashtrays. There's one here.
Oh my god.
Down on the between, but there's.
That's
no,
an ashtray. I thought it was for the belts. What a country! Look, there's RVs. Oh, that's where the auction is, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do any? You want to do like approaching? Like we could do that here? Or
yeah. We could do that here. I think it would be better on the other side of the highway, though. It's such an old area, you know, like near the Dominion Bridge building. Since we're here, here's not as interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, we could try that.
Yeah. You know. Oh, what the fuck is that? That's an old 240. Oh my god, that's a Bertone. I think that car was in my neighborhood last summer. That's a rare car, man. That's a Bertone Volvo.
No, that's not the one with the shortened roof, is it? The lowered roof?
It's the one that had the mags. It was like a GT model. I don't know.
But there was one where they cut the roof down low and it looks like a chop top, you know?
I don't know about that. Are you not talking about the P1800 that looked like the Ferrari? No. I think that's the most beautiful Volvo ever made. Eh?
So I'm just wondering, should we go straight?
Yeah, go straight. Just trust me. Straight.
I just don't want to get stuck in traffic jams with the...
it's Sunday.
Sunday, that's when they close all the roads.
Oh, yeah. Where is it?
I think we're okay here. We'll get off on...
yeah, the first...
Yeah.
Oh, 32nd. Oh, I made a mistake. Okay. I thought it was an exit for... First Avenue, you know, William McDonald. You know where I'm talking about there? That really old area.
Yeah. That's First Avenue in Lachine. The only way to get there is to go back.
Even Saint Joseph would be great.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, you know? Shit, that company's so old. There's a guy who owns it. There's a 53 Kenworth parked there, or some 50s Kenworth truck.
Oh, really?
There's a few older trucks parked there, yeah. I don't think you've been there much, eh?
No.
And then on the way back, you can drop me off if you wanted the Tim Hortons on Dollard and Notre Dame there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then I'll take the 191 or something. No, she's a good ride. But you know, it's interesting. I find it interesting how it rides like, I think, almost every other British car I've ever rode in. Well,
very upright?
Yeah, no, but even the suspension, you know, like it's nothing really smooth. It's nothing amazing. Yeah. It's choppy, but...
Well, it's got leaf springs in the back, and the idea is the wheelbase is very short. And it's pretty stiff, the suspension, you know.
It is stiff indeed, yes, yes.
But it's made for little country roads, so it's great handling. Like when I come down here to access Highway 13, I'm bombing along, people are hitting their brakes. At 50 miles an hour, I just turn.
Yeah.
Even with the high center of gravity in that, it's got quite a stiff suspension, and
I've noticed the stiffness, because that's what I'm saying. It reminds me of my friend's Austin Healey. It reminds me of an MGB I rode in.
Yeah.
But it would be very curious to ride in something more high-end, like a Jag or a Rolls Royce or something, you know, to compare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then again, I once rode in the '61 Mercury Comet, and it was a cool-looking car. But again, it was a choppy ride. It's nothing. It's a cheap car, you know. It's an economy car. So, you know. But then again, there are guys like you. They want to feel the road. They don't want too smooth. They don't want too soft. You know.
That's it.
Everybody's different, you know. Well, I wish it was more sunny, but you know, it could be worse.
Isn't it good for pictures to have a little cloudiness?
Yeah. My mom, my stepfather, they actually lived down that way on 49th Avenue.
Oh yeah?
But I say keep going straight. Actually, there is a Tim Hortons down there. I know where it is. I know where we can stop. I'll buy you a coffee or something, or a donut or something. Pastry.
This is
32nd Avenue. Yeah, just go straight. Okay.
Ready?
Oh. All right.
So can you hear it? Or
Yeah. A 68 with a hand crank, unbelievable. That goes to show you. How does that go to show you these cars were sold worldwide?
Ready?
Go for it.
Here you go.
Unbelievable, folks. 1968, man. Okay, let's have a look at that good-looking motor. They call it a motor, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting. 1.8 liter, you said, eh?
No, 1.1.
1.1. What?
That's why it's called the 1000. It's only 1,098 cc.
So what do you think it is? It does for miles per gallon in that case?
Oh, it does like 50 miles per gallon.
Holy mackerel! Oh my God! Look how tiny that is. I think that's the tiniest car engine I've ever seen.
The same motor as the Mini.
Unbelievable.
So
sounds like a Tercel.
Yeah. I rebuilt, well, smooth, very smooth. And there's nothing electronic, it still has the original points. It has a generator, not an alternator.
And you said it's 45 horses?
48 horsepower.
Is that fan the original? That yellow fan?
Yeah, it was that color. All the color and everything is original. When I rebuilt it, I got new stickers to reproduce the original stickers.
You want to give her a little rev there?
Yeah,
I was actually trying to find the cable for the accelerator.
That's here. And you have to film it from the back because the exhaust has a particular...
Oh yeah, that's why I was glad to do the, like you said, to film the startup. Why are there 4 holes here?
That's
weird, eh?
They're stiffening holes. They're flange holes.
Flange.
Okay, I'll listen to the exhaust.
You know what's funny too? Is that I can believe the gas mileage not only because of how small the motor is and how small the displacement is. It's so small. It's so small.
So we'll go continue.
There, you got a buyer coming here. Part of town because this is the oldest part of North America, next to St. Augustine, Florida. It's true.
Yeah.
You know?
Like these old houses.
Oh man.
Here.
No, but not only that. Look at this intersection just right here.
Or the other thing, did you want to get in the back?
Oh man. Well, I'll do that after. I'm holding a coffee now. Look at these dandelions. Pollen. See there? Look, there's the water right there.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of old cars in this part of town, man. A lot. And it's because it's a very old area. Mm-hmm. But maybe also because unlike where you live, there's still a lot of white people left too. A lot of old white people. And that's what they like. People, you know, like your age and older. It's true. You laugh, but it's true. Colorless cars.
Boy, these are really old buildings.
I know. I just love it. It sucks because this area, a little further east, gets a bad rap. Because it's kind of, you know, when you get away from the street, it gets ghetto. You know, it's poor. Mm-hmm. But I tell people, I'm like, well, what's the difference? Well, from where I live, and I just saw a military trailer there, I think it was. It's just so historic here, you know?
Yeah.
But as for my idea of filming you driving by on this here, I think this was a bad idea now because it's Sunday and it's just, look how many cars are around here.
Yeah.
It takes away the eye, you know?
Exactly.
Well, worst case scenario, I mean, you don't have a lot of time anyway. At least I got this great footage of you driving, got the start up. You started it with the crank, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, what's neat about this car is that they say it would never leave you stranded because there are 4 ways to get the thing started. You can, of course, use the key.
You can outwire it.
You can you can jump the 2 terminals. If you pop the hood open, you can jump the 2 terminals to the starter across the solenoid. That I've done before. You can push start it and release the clutch in 4th gear.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you can use the hand crank. So it's happened where the solenoid for the starter broke. Well, I had 3 other options to get going. I didn't ever get stuck with it.
That's amazing.
Whereas the same thing's happened in
so it's a perfect
other
car.
cars.
It's a perfect car for an Armageddon then.
In a way, yeah.
You know, like you know about what a solar storm could possibly do to our grid, right?
And there's no electronics, so if electronics are wiped out, I'm still good.
That's it. It's true. You can't do that with your Volkswagen.
There's no, there's no GPS. There's no, nobody's tracking me. There's not sending signals to the company of my use and all
watching your driver's habits.
Yeah,
and,
my driving habits.
Yeah,
and selling the information
black
to somebody.
box.
And,
yeah, this was really part of the golden age of motoring. Even though it was a thrifty car, it was an economy car. I mean, again, like the Beetle, like so many of the cars, it's sold worldwide. It's just that they didn't sell very many of them here. It just wasn't the
No.
norm. If you owned this here, you were weird.
Well, it's
you know?
because gas was cheap here. So
Yeah.
why buy something that's the same price as, a Chevrolet
No, you're
or
right.
something,
You're right.
So people didn't care. They drove big cars because gas was cheap. And also we have highways here. This car is not really made.
Speaking of big cars, look at that GMC there.
Yeah.
Looks like the one from my hood. Actually, I'm sure that's the same one from my hood.
See, these houses on the left are ancient.
Oh yeah, all of them, all this here. I know.
Or
If
this
I had,
on the right is like a historic building.
if I had a time machine, I mean, seriously, to go back in time.
This one with the orange roof.
Oh, just beautiful, just gorgeous, so charming. Big motorcycle for sale.
Yeah.
And you know what I just saw parked on the side street? I've seen it around here before because it belongs to a bait shop. It's an International Scout.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those are rare today too. Yeah. And you know, you can take the bike path. This goes all the way to the old port. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what I should do is make a U-turn.
No. Keep going straight. Trust me.
I'm gonna take St. Patrick.
Because there's a very old industry over here too, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah. Look at that. See, they still have. Oh my God, they still have that that crossbar. There's not even any tracks there anymore. Oh yeah, you see, that's right. Now we just went over to Lachine Canal.
Yeah.
Now we're in La Salle. Yeah, sorry about that. It's my bad. I'm the one who made a mistake, actually. My bad. Sorry. St. Patrick. Mind you, this actually goes to where I was gonna go anyway. But I mean, again, I've lost track of time, so it doesn't. Oh, you know what? Ah, nice. 2 in a row. Well, of its elk. So what do you like better driving, this or your Corvair? I think I know the answer to that person.
I like both of them. I mean, they're both touch a different ride.
So you don't have a
I'm
preference.
used to this one because I've had it a lot longer, and I've also perfected all the little quirks and stuff. The Corvair still needs a few things to iron out on it.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, I see Kermit back there. Is pretty happy.
Yeah, there's a story
Kermit
with
the Frog here.
The story with Kermit is when I bought it from this guy in London who was selling it. I dropped him off. He said, "Can you drop me off at the train station after I bought the car?" And he said, so I said, "Yeah, no problem." So I drop him off at the train station. He's getting out, and I look at just to see if he took everything, that it was his. And I saw the Kermit the Frog in the back. And I said, "Oh, you forgot your frog." And he says, "Oh, no, the frog has to stay with the car." Okay. So I was always worried about removing it from the car in case it was bad luck. So that frog's been there since from when he had it. So.
And what's the other thing I saw on the shelf back there? Was it like, it looked like an owner's manual?
That's the
or
owner's
something?
manual. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything in there that's glaring that you should mention that you think it's funny?
Well, I mean, it's not like today's owner's manual. It explains to you like how to adjust your carburetor, how to grease all your suspension points. It's very in depth. It's almost like a shop manual, you know.
Did you ever look to see how many of these Morris miners were produced worldwide?
Yeah, 1.6 million.
1.6 million?
It was the first
1.21 gigawatts. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
1.6 million. It was the first British car to reach 1 million units.
Wow.
And so they produced a lilac colored Morris miner called the Morris Million, I think they called it.
Really?
Instead of having 1,000, it had 1 million on the side of the car.
Wow.
So, if I can cross here.
You want me to check the time?
That's okay.
Yeah, they don't use this track anymore. See, this right here, this bridge,
Yeah.
is why I wish I would have a time machine to see this thing actually in action and see a big tall ship go through. You know what I mean? Like back in the day when they still had industries over here, because that's what wiped out ships coming through here and trains, is because of trucks. You know,
So
the affordability.
Inserting catheters in people's veins and stuff, undoing blockages.
Yeah, that bridge was built, I think, in 1959, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would have been older than that.
And one of the reasons why I wish I could see it in action if I had a time machine is because of the movie Maximum Overdrive, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, because the movie starts with a bridge that goes berserk.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, basically the bridge starts going up with all these cars on it. So, you know, you've never seen the movie, I guess.
Maximum Overdrive?
Yeah.
I heard of it. I never
Stephen
saw
King?
it. Oh, yeah.
Ah, the smell of a bygone era.